All right, buddy. So what's your name and where you from?
My name is Venom. I'm from the Bronx.
Venom. Venom, correct? Like the
Yep.
from the Marvel character.
Yep.
He's one of my favorites, man.
Yeah.
Venom, Carnage. I don't know if a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know about Carnage, but he was like the
Carnage is a savage.
yeah, man. I like Carnage, man.
Yeah, he's a savage.
I like them. I like them better than the regular Spider-Man. I don't know why, but like,
Me too.
it's like who says that? 50 Cent, I think he says. He says, I root for the bad guy, but turn it off before the bad guy dies when he watching
Yeah.
gangster flicks.
Yeah.
But anyways, man, so you came my way. You were sent by someone that actually makes all of my music and beats on this channel, man. Amnesia Beats, and his channel name is different, but the link to all his information is in the description of the video. I keep it up there all the time. But man, he's a good dude, and he sent you my way. And you're from New York, correct?
Yeah, that's a fact.
New York, and you said you just did 11 piece. Was that you who said you did 11?
Yeah, I just did 11 years.
All right, go ahead and tell me a little bit about that, man. What'd you go for? And well, you already went. You already said you did 11 piece, but so what'd you get in there for?
I went in there for murder.
Murder.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. You look, I probably would have bumped you up on the list a little faster than that if you done told me murder. Oh man, I'm just playing. But all right, so you had a murder jank.
Yeah.
And you got 11. You probably got some suspended, right? You're probably on probation still.
I'm on probation. I originally ended up getting sentenced to 25, but by way of appeal, I gave back 14 years.
Okay, well that's all right. By way of appeal.
Yeah.
So what exactly did you appeal? Just the sentencing?
No, I appealed one of the proceedings at trial,
Uh huh.
and the appellate division, they found that I had good reasoning to get an appeal, and they gave me my appeal, and that's what allowed me to get home faster than the 25 years.
Well, that's what's up, man. Can't beat
Yeah.
that. Was it kind of a surprise to you, or were you expecting it?
My faith is heavy, so I was expecting it. I didn't see myself having to do the entire sentence, and I knew that at some point I would be released earlier than I was set by the courts.
Yeah. I've been in some positions like that. You know, when I was facing over 50 years in prison, I used to have a saying: "You hope for the best, but expect the worst." You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I'm a religious individual and I have strong faith, but man, I always felt like I was just gonna lose in that courtroom
Yeah.
every single time. But I beat a few. Man.
Yeah.
But that's excellent, man. You got a little appeal thing and you got home early. Well, tell me, do you mind speaking about how everything unfolded, man?
Not at all. I was approached by an individual in the neighborhood that I lived in, and he had accused me of stealing the cell phone, and I didn't know what he was talking about. But after that, he threatened my life with an ice pick.
Okay, how old were you? It sounds like some young stuff.
Yeah, I was 23.
23, okay. And he came at you with the ice pick, you said?
Yeah, he came at me with an ice pick.
Okay. And what happened after that?
After that, he got shot a couple times, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, I get. And I'm guessing a lot of people learned that day not to come to, what's the saying? Bring a knife to a gunfight?
Yeah, that's definitely something you do not want to do.
Not to laugh about it, but yeah, that is how it goes. And I mean, if you did, it's an ice pick. If he was coming at you the wrong way, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
But and I'm sure that the courts looked at it like that as well, for the simple fact they didn't give you life.
Oh, they didn't actually. I beat the top charge of murder, and I was convicted of manslaughter in the first. They had me for murder in the second degree,
Okay.
and that carries a life sentence.
Yeah. And they dropped it down to manslaughter. That ain't bad.
Yeah, I beat the murder 2 at trial, and I beat weapons possession at trial, and I was convicted of manslaughter in the first.
Okay. Well, damn. Was that your first time getting in trouble, getting locked up?
Yeah, very first time.
Damn, that's a hell of a way to go into prison, man. or jail, lockup, period. And you're from New York, so I'm sure you've seen what Rikers and all that.
Yeah, I was on Rikers fighting my case for 4.5 years before I went to trial.
Okay, and how was Rikers, man?
Tough, man. Rikers was crazy, bro.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazier than upstate. At some point, you're gonna have to earn your respect because people not just gonna look at you and see that you're a nice guy and be like, all right, let me leave him alone. At some point, you're gonna have to earn some type of respect. It's a battleground on Rikers Island. It's crazy.
Okay, and well, that's a good question. How would you say someone is the best way for someone to earn some respect through fighting?
First and foremost, respect, bro. You give it, you get it.
Okay.
That's the start of the best information I could get. And unfortunately, like I said, sometimes people like I had a saying before I was released. Back in the Roman days, and this is just an analogy. Back in the Roman days, you got a guy who's at the fruit stand and he's buying fruit for him and his family, and he's putting it in the basket. And you got another guy who sees him and he makes fun of him because he thinks that it's something funny about him, or he's a punk because he's going to get this fruit for his family. But what he doesn't know is that during the day, he's in the arena beheading lions and fighting gladiators all the time. But all he sees is the guy that's going to the fruit stand to buy fruit for his family. Like, so at some point you might have someone try you, and you're gonna have to do what you gotta do, because if not, if you allow somebody to step on you, then other people are gonna try you as well.
Yeah. Well, that was a good analogy, man. You
Thank
pretty
you.
much don't judge a book by its cover. You know,
Pretty much.
You never
Yep.
know what the hell you're gonna get. But so what was probably well, you said Rikers Island was more intense than upstate.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it typically like in there? Was there fights every day?
Pretty much. Yeah, it's fights every day. A lot of gang activity.
Who was running it when you were in there?
The Bloods.
Bloods?
Yep.
Were people in when they got wind of what you were in lockup for, did they kind of look at you differently or approach you differently, knowing that you're in there for murder?
Well, it depends on the vantage point. It's a lot of guys who are incarcerated and fighting cases for murder.
Yeah.
It's not that rare of a charge to come across that someone has. I think when people were looking at me differently, it was when conversations would arise about the amount of time someone was facing. So if it's like a group of us and one guy be like, yeah, I'm looking at 10 years, and another guy be like, well, I'm looking at 3 to 6. And then they'll be like, how much are you facing? I'm facing life. And it's like everybody gets quiet after that. Like,
yeah.
Like it just changes. It just
They
changes.
Say, damn, dog.
Yeah.
That's probably what they say. Damn, dog.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm gonna go take a shower, y'all. I'm gonna call my old lady. You know, they're probably like, shit, you probably made everybody else in the block feel wonderful.
Yeah. It's like almost every time that conversation came about, it was one of those situations where you gotta be like, well, somebody has it worse than me, so I can't be really complaining too much about my situation.
Yeah, I know that's right, man. Well, were you affiliated with anyone in lockup?
No, not as far as gangs, no.
Okay, and how was that, man? How was it? I mean, is it you can survive in Rikers without joining any kind? I've heard different, people's inputs on this, but I'd like to hear yours as well. So you can survive without joining some kind of organization in there?
You can. You just got to be stand up, and you got to not take nothing from nobody. And sometimes, unfortunately, that may mean that you may be in situations that will follow you consistently, but you still got to stand on your own 10.
Yeah. Did you see anybody in there get like? Because some people, they stand on all 10 toes all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but it never stops individuals from inflicting pain upon them. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that where a certain individual, he would stand up for himself, but repeatedly get knocked back down, or however you want to call it?
I have seen it before, and it's different reasons why things like that occur. But yeah, I've definitely seen people get tried over and over and over again, even though they were pretty official.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the point that I try to get across because a lot of people, a lot of people do say, stand up for yourself, but there are
Hmm.
individuals in there that just like they're just not built to stand up for themselves. You know what
Absolutely
you know
right.
what I mean?
Hmm.
That's like saying go into a battle with no weapon.
Hmm.
You can do it,
Hmm.
but you ain't built for it. You ain't
Yeah.
got the right
Yep.
you ain't got the right gear. So that's why I try to get through to people. It's not always like that, and it's just to help individuals stop committing crimes, man, because they don't want to end up in jail and actually might be that type of individual that can't ain't built
Hmm.
for that shit. Uh, what are we going with? So you're in Rikers Island, and then you go through the whole court process, and you get moved up to upstate. Where'd you go to penitentiary at?
Uh, I went from downstate correctional facility in transit to Sing Sing, and then to 5 Points, and then back to downstate correctional facility.
Sing Sing, man, that's a very popular name, but I haven't heard too much about it. What exactly is Sing Sing? It's a prison, of course, but is it like some kind of receiving or?
It's one of the transit facilities where you only be there for a month and a half, and then they'll send you to the facility that you'll be staying in. But then they also have a bunch of people where that is their facility, and they are staying there.
Yeah,
Um,
probably like cadres. I guess that's what you would call them.
yep,
But yeah,
exactly. Hmm.
okay, okay. And cadres, for anybody who doesn't know, is like an inmate that would live at the prison that typically everyone leaves from, and they
Hmm.
handle everything. That's kind of like a janitor or something in that prison,
Yep.
somewhat.
I
But
was in cadre in downstate.
yeah,
Hmm.
how was that, man?
It was all right.
Cadres, boy, I'll tell you what. Cadres got the hookup on a
They
lot of
do.
stuff, man.
They do. They also. I mean, I can't speak on all of them, but where I was at, it was also dangerous because it's only about like 300 inmates in that facility,
Uh huh.
but uh, it could get ugly real fast.
Okay, and this was the facility you were a cadre in.
Yeah.
Was it a like a lockdown? Because 300 is not a lot. I'm guessing that was like a high security, maybe.
Um, Not necessarily high security because we did have some individuals who were like able to leave and go outside the jail to work.
Oh,
If
okay, okay,
if
okay.
they were close to going home, then they were able to work outside.
Oh, so that was kind of like the really sweet place to go to a little bit if you
It
were
was
trying to go
definitely
home.
it was definitely sweet, and it was definitely not something you didn't want to sleep on as well.
Okay, okay, I understand that, and that's a good point too, man. You can't sleep on anything for real, man.
Mm-mm.
Shit can pop off anywhere.
Yep.
So besides Rikers, man, what penitentiary you say was probably the most popping off?
I would have to say 5 Points that I went to.
5 points. Every time I hear that, I think of Gangs of New York. They had, that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. Man, they had some gang. I think it was called 5 Points. Every time I hear it, I
Yeah.
think of that. But okay, so 5 points penitentiary. Why do they call it 5 points? You know?
I'm not I'm not even sure honestly. But it's in a part of upstate New York that I personally never even heard of. A town called Romulus.
Sounds like something out of Star Trek.
It definitely does, and it's in the middle of nowhere. It was the first time I ever saw an albino deer. Like it's yeah,
Damn, that's
yeah,
rare. That's kind of like seeing a white blood in prison.
yeah, yeah. You do have more of them than you may believe though.
Oh yeah, I do. I know. Trust me. I believe, and I strongly believe there's much more up north than
Mm.
people probably than anywhere else on the East Coast. But yes, trust me, I know. Just in Virginia, no prison I seen, and I said it in my videos before. I mean, there were some white dudes claiming to be blood, but boy, did they have one rough, rough trip, and I can almost guarantee that they weren't claiming that afterwards. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But yeah, they're everywhere. You know, all across the country from east to west. Slowly but surely, I'm seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so 5 points. What was some crazy stuff that you might have seen there, man? Let me ask you this: out of all, but before we jump into that,
Mm-hmm.
out of all the stuff that you've been through, what would you say was your scariest moment in prison? I know it might be hard to think of, but
To be honest, I think waiting for that verdict was my scariest moment.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew I had a motorcycle just drive past my house. I knew you were gonna say that, man. Because
But
that was my scariest damn moment in my life.
it was like when you facing life, like the thought of never being able to have your freedom ever again, like that's a scary feeling, bro.
I
That's a
mean,
scary.
look, I was going up for abduction. That's like kidnapping, okay,
Mm-hmm.
with weapons. They were trying to give me over 50 years for everything. You know what I mean? So in my eyes, that's life. To
It
me,
is.
it
You're
is. I'm
absolutely
getting
right.
out at 70 something years old or 70. You know, that's my life. So trust me, I know you're feeling. I'm talking about the whole night before. What about the night before? How'd you feel right before you went to court the night before?
It was a lot of nervousness, bubble guts, and just
Bubble guts, boy. I'll
yeah.
tell you
It,
what. People
you
think
know,
that's just like some kind of myth. It ain't.
no, it's not, bro. Wait,
It puts a fear in you that will make you fart all night, man. I feel like you're about
yeah,
to
yo,
shit yourself.
you're not even lying, bro. It's different. Waiting for that verdict. Like when I remember being in the holding pen and my lawyer coming to me, he was like, "They got a verdict," and I was like,
Oh my god.
"Oh man, what is like what's gonna happen? Like what is the verdict gonna be?" And when they said not guilty for murder too, I feel like a lot of weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Just hearing the words not guilty, period, man.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. It's pretty crazy how, well, you had a jury trial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's a little different, but they do read a bunch of bull crap before they go into the not guilty. You know what I'm talking about? They just
Yeah,
read off.
they give the jurors instructions on how they should come to their deliberation.
Yeah. And it's kind of, it's torturous when you hear all these people start, you just want to hear the verdict, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But all this stuff is flowing, and then finally you get to a jury's a little different. But with the judge sentencing you, I
Mm-hmm.
remember I was sentenced. I was like, all I heard was, I mean, when I was found not guilty, all I heard was a bunch of this stuff, and then the way he said it, I didn't know what the hell he chose. You know, I didn't know if it was
Mm-hmm.
not guilty. What the hell did you just say to me, man? So I should have been rejoicing, but really I was really scared because I didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
But that it's like a tunnel vision, man. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. Damn, I know that was a good feeling, my friend. I bet you had some family members there.
Actually, I didn't have any family members there.
Really?
No, I didn't have anyone there when I got my verdict. Or throughout trial, actually.
Damn,
Um,
dude.
yeah, it was it was a difficult bid for me, and I'm blessed to have the people that I did have in my corner who supported me throughout my incarceration. But it was times where it was really rough, and then it was times where it was something that I was able to manage. But
Yeah.
more so, it was rough than it was easier. Um, I did want to touch on something about the when jurors deliberate, and this is something that a lot of people are not familiar with. Um, when a judge hands down these instructions, he's using a terminology that people who are living everyday life and who are not used to court proceedings are not familiar with.
Nope.
So you will have some words that hold on, you will have some words that people just not gonna understand. And a lot of people are not gonna be like, "Excuse me, Your Honor, I don't understand what that word that you said was. Can you break down or define that word?" So they'll just sit there and be quiet, act like they understand what's going on, and they really don't.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of times
And
where
the those are the jurors you're speaking on. Like the jurors,
mhm.
there are peers. I
Yep.
was in prison.
Mhm.
I was in prison, man, and I got sentenced to jury duty. So that just goes to
What?
show you yeah. I made sure my old lady called the courts because if you don't show up to jury duty, that's a
Yeah.
charge. They can
Yeah.
they can give you a charge, lock you up.
Yeah.
You're mandatory as a as a citizen to
Mhm.
appear in the court if called upon. So yeah, the people that he's telling these individuals these crazy words and logistics and crap, they're just like me, you, anyone else, and we didn't go to law school.
Nope. Yup.
We're we're not going to know that stuff, and that's how it's designed. And
Mhm.
I would talk more about that, but I try not to veer into that direction. It brings a lot of chaos with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but I know exactly what you mean. You know.
Mhm.
What happened after they read after the judge told them all that stuff, man? I mean, you noticed that they were obviously didn't understand probably half the crap.
They didn't. They really didn't understand it. After he gave them the instructions, they were allowed to request evidence to go over and to help them come to their deliberation. But this was another thing that I wasn't aware of going into trial. They asked for the transcripts of the witnesses that testified against me and the police officers' testimony so that they could review it in the back room where they would deliberate. But what I didn't know and what they didn't know is that they would have to have these transcripts read to them in the courtroom. So it's not like you actually looking at the words and you're able to compare on direct and then on cross examination.
Yeah.
Look, they said this here and then they said that there. You have to remember as it's being read back to you what was said, what wasn't said. So it was a
That's
little
what we call that tomfoolery.
yeah, yeah. It was a lot of tomfoolery going on. But with, once they realized that they had to have it read to them, and they read the first witness's testimony, they said we don't even want to hear the rest. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm sitting there fighting for my life, and I didn't even want to hear them read no more because the way that the stenographer was reading it, she was prolonging it as much as she could. She was making it sound really boring, so people were nodding off, falling asleep. It's They just made it really, really drawn out, and it got to a point that the jurors were no longer interested.
So that worked out for your behalf, or no?
Uh no, I don't think so. Um, because I'm certain the reason that they were asking for the testimony was because there were lies in the witness's testimony, and if they were able to take the transcript back with them, they would be able to see it again because it's my trial was a month and a half, and you're not going to remember everything from day 17 on day 41.
Yeah.
So it'd be best to go back and be able to review and see what was said, what wasn't said. And I think that when they redacted or retracted, wanted to hear the testimony, they just came to the conclusion of what their deliberation would be. But I think it did, and I think it didn't. And I say that because the definition of murder in a second, if I wasn't found guilty of that, then I wasn't supposed to be found guilty of anything else. But only if you know law would you know that.
Yeah. What's her name? I forget her name, but someone famous got off of a murder charge like that because they were charged too high of a murder charge.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? What was her name, man? I can't remember. I think it was out of Florida though, but yeah, she was overcharged. So she beat the charge because technically that wasn't the murder that she committed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what happened to you is they just lowered it, which they probably should have just thrown it out.
Mm-hmm.
Altogether.
That's exactly what they should have did. If I wasn't convicted of the top charge, there's no way I was supposed to get convicted of a lesser charge.
Yeah, exactly. Makes me think about my case.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had malicious wounding, and then they dropped it down to unlawful wounding. But who knows? I might need to look that up. Might be able to get some money out of that.
You might be able to. You gotta check it out. You gotta check it
Oh
out.
man. So well, tell me, man, how was the prison life? Is it really segregated in New York? How was that? How's the segregation there? Pretty much just by gangs and stuff.
Yeah and no. They can't really control segregation on gangs. It's too many of them.
Yeah.
It's too many of them.
Mm-hmm.
But the main, like some facilities, you'll be on one side of the jail, and it'll be like 500 people on this side, 400 people on this side. Then you have 400 or 500 people on that side, and you may only see the people from the other side if you have the same programs.
Yeah.
So if y'all going to the same vocational, then that might be the only time you'll see them.
So you see people of all races kicking it sometimes?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, making trades and stuff like that. All right. I already knew that pretty much, but I like to, for people that just now starting to hear something about New York, for them to know. So what was the craziest thing you've seen out of your whole 11 years of lockup, man?
I think, well, when you get to any facility, you have to speak with the sergeant, and the sergeant is going to ask you a series of questions. And at the end of these series of questions, they're going to tell you, I don't care what you do in my jail. I don't care if you sell drugs. I don't care if you cut somebody. I don't care if you stab somebody. Just don't fuck with just don't mess with my officers. And the unity that the officers have, if something occurs, they stick together. When officers assault inmates and they jump inmates, it's rare that you see people jumping in. People that they chill with on a daily basis, eat with every day, they supposed to be like road dogs, and they won't even help them. They'll just let the police beat them to a bloody pulp.
But why do you think they? I know why they do that for the most part, but why do you think that they let shit like that fly?
I think it's a psychological thing that they instilled this level of fear into them, where they know that the repercussions that may come behind that are going to be something severe, and it's something that a lot of people are not willing to go through.
Yep. They're definitely going to get charged with a new felony.
Absolutely.
100%.
And it's going to follow you from facility to facility.
Yep. That's going to boost your level no matter where you're at.
Yep.
In-house. It's going to boost your level in penitentiary. You can go to higher level prison, lockdown status, around killers, the worst of the worst. It's going to put another felony on your record.
Yep.
It's going to boost your point level when you go to courts or whatever and you're about to get sentenced again. It's gonna ruin the individual's life. You're going to lose good time. You might add years to your sentence.
Yep.
And then you got to worry about the COs in general. Once they know that you got that on their rap sheet, there might be some super cops in there that don't give two shits about disrespecting you because you got that on your record. So they got a lot to lose helping, but at the same time, sometimes it needs to be done.
It does need to be done. If I call you my brother, I can't just sit there and watch an officer or officers just beat you to a pulp. Like I can't just watch that, bro.
Well, how would you approach the situation? Would you go in there swinging, or would you just go in there and try to, cover them up from the body blows?
I would have to go in swinging. You're gonna lose regardless. Is no way that you're gonna come out good for getting involved in a situation like that.
Yeah.
But if it is someone that I consider a brother of mine or a best friend, then I can't just sit there and watch that happen and not do anything. It would be an unfortunate situation to be in, because you're gonna lose a lot. But I would feel bad. Like, let's say they beat him so bad that he dies.
Yeah.
I would feel bad that I didn't do anything and I watched this happen.
Yeah.
And he ended up losing his life as a result.
Okay. Yeah, I understand completely, man. You know, I mean, I was never close like that with anyone lock up. You know,
Yeah.
I came into prison with one thing only: get in, get out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you do form bonds. But unfortunately, my bond was the poker table.
Yeah.
Cards was my friend, and gambling
Yeah.
was my old lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I still had a heart. You know what I mean? I'll help someone. I'll give
Yeah.
them food if they're hungry. You
Mm-hmm.
know, stuff
Absolutely.
like that. But if I know, someone put a green light on them, I'm gonna keep my distance. You know,
Yeah.
and that's just how it was. You know, but yeah, that is probably a crazy thing to see, man. Just people not helping individuals. I tell people that all the time, man. I made a video on it called "Is There Good Samaritans in Prison?" And you're
Mm.
pretty much co-signing and pretty much no, there's not. You know,
No,
people have.
it's very rare to come across.
Yeah, you'll see people randomly every now and then look out for their buddies or just someone and give them a soup or something like that. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as far as helping someone that might be about to die or stuff like that, unless it's some kind of medical thing,
Mm-hmm.
they're just gonna walk right over you, man, and just
Yep.
they're gonna scatter. They're gonna stay away from it, you know. So
Yep.
yeah, I say that all the time in my videos. Well, check it out, man. What do you got going on now? You're out. You know, you're hooked up with amnesia beats.
Yep.
What's going on, man? You got some music going on. I listened to some of your stuff, man. And it's nasty. You know,
Thank
you're
you,
definitely
bro.
talented, bro.
Thank you. I'm working on some music. I dropped a mixtape because I've been home about a year now. So I dropped a mixtape in October, and I'll be releasing the album at the end of August.
Moving fast, man.
I gotta hit the ground running. I missed a lot of time.
That's all you gotta do. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with going fast. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, man, you got to keep me updated with all that. Don't forget before you leave here to give me all the links to whatever you got going on, and I'll pin it in the comment section description of the video for you.
Okay.
So what do you see yourself doing in the future here, man? Do you got anything planned, like going to rap somewhere, or you doing anything in any kind of clubs or anything like that?
I'm working on getting some shows together right now. Um, I'm still trying to get a couple loose ends tightened as far as the album is concerned, features and production. But that's pretty much done, and I would definitely be updating you on shows and appearances that are coming up in the near future.
Sounds good, man, for sure. And look, if you have any kind of knowledge or wisdom you could leave us with, or the people watching about Lockup, man.
Absolutely. I think the most important thing, the best advice that I can offer, or wisdom that I can offer is, if you do get incarcerated, if you are incarcerated, no matter how much time you are facing, if you facing or doing a year, 10 years, 25 years, anything that has a release date at the end, and you do not leave with patience, every second that you did was a waste of time.
Yeah, patience is a virtue. They say, I believe it's somewhere in the Bible actually. It says through patience comes perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Death got a little wisdom tool.
Yeah, I see.
I play the fiddle sometimes and play the Joker role in my videos, but yeah, I've done a lot of book work. I used to be a big bookworm when it came to certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on to the show. What's the name of your Instagram? All that really quick, and don't forget, I'm gonna leave his stuff pinned in the comment section for everyone to watch, and in the description of the video. He has a good gift, man. You have a gift, and you really need to bring it out even more. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So on SoundCloud is Venom718, and on Instagram is WeAreVenom_718.
We are Venom.
Yep.
_718.
Yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, go check out his stuff. Seemed like a really, and that's another thing I meant to say when we were talking about the verdict and stuff like that. Just by me talking to you, man, I know you probably got caught up in that shit when you're younger and whatever. But I could tell, man, you got a good heart, man. I could tell, and I'm sure the jury could tell as well. Believe it or not, appearance means a lot in a jury trial, my friend.
It does. You not lying. It definitely does.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see people in lockup cut their dreads. I've seen people use stuff, homemade foundation in jail to cover up face tattoos and all kinds of stuff. So, appearance is everything. And I can tell, man, you just got a humble vibe to you. You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna be honest. One thing real quick before I go into that, I heard a couple lawyers tell their clients not to work out because they don't want to appear too bulky and aggressive,
animalistic.
Yeah, but what was I gonna say? I forgot, bro.
It's all good. I do that shit all the time, my friend. All right. Damn, you kind of laugh like Eddie Murphy, man.
I heard that before too.
Holy shit, man.
But I was also gonna say, me being humble, that came from being able to learn from my experience because I wasn't always humble.
Yeah.
It was something that was acquired.
Yeah, I know that's right. Shoot. You got, another thing that I had to perfect too. Now, and it goes hand in hand with humble. Being humble is the pride, man. That pride will be a man's downfall. Anyone out there with pride issues really need to work on that starting today, my friends. But
this day, right now, because it'll deter you from going where it is that you can go, where you want to go.
Yeah. All those guys out there think they're hot shit. Think their old lady won't leave them and stuff like that. Hey, look.
Yeah, it can happen to it can happen to the best of us. At the snap of a finger, you can lose everything.
You can, man. So humble yourselves and work on that pride, because, man, I tell you what, you'll fall. You'll fall, and that's how typically most people work on their pride, by falling. And they have to just accept it. So. I think the best way for work on your pride is get your ass beat, and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
You can get your ass beat in multiple ways. Without having hands put on you, you can get your ass beat. Yeah. I got my ass beat while I was incarcerated without having hands put on me.
Yeah.
And it humbled me. It humbled me a lot.
I believe it, man. I believe it 100%. But I appreciate you coming on to the show, man. I hope nothing but success for you in the future. And tell Amnesia I said what's up.
I definitely. Thank you. I appreciate you having me, bro.
Hey, anytime, man. And like I said, you definitely got a bright future ahead of you, man. I can tell.
Thank you, bro.
And you be easy out there, man. Be safe, all right?
I definitely will. You enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right, you as well, my friend.
All right.